Hey guys, so this is my 2021 Warbinder slash bullet journal setup. Now, I did a walkthrough for my first Warbinder that I've ever done. I will link that video in the description box. And that was a very interesting ride. It was me really trying to figure out my own journaling style and what I like and don't like about different types of journaling and putting it together. This is a progression of that, and so I did a similar cover. I'm inserting here the cover for the first journal, and as you can see, it's kind of the same theme. I gave it the same title, and I just called it Volume 2 because it's essentially a continuation of the first journal, and I want them to be linked together. So I think I'm going to keep that theme. I did mess up the cover, as you can tell. I have to redo this, and I will do a video showing how I fixed this cover. But, you know, this is the fun of journaling. You know, you see finished products and sometimes they look great, but a lot of times a lot of mistakes go in the making. So this is the flip through. So I have my cover page, which again, I carried this theme, and I posted this on Instagram and asked if anyone could guess what Bible verse I was writing in this basket weave pattern. And the answer is Revelation chapter 22. I didn't get all the way through it. I don't remember what verse I stopped at, but I started at verse 1 and just started writing through it because I thought it was a very meaningful thing for me personally. I just liked it, so that's what I put here, and eventually I'm going to put my contact information here, but for the sake of filming this video I left it out, and I will just put it in later. And so this is my first page, and then I start with my actual stuff. Now, I have different types of pages in my journal. It's not quite the same as a bullet journal, but I like to do a sort of table of contents thing at the beginning. I struggled hard with the original table of contents concept. I would do pages and I would forget to add them to the table of contents, and then I couldn't find them. It was just a lot, but I've found that a lot of times I make lists, and especially if you're in the bullet journaling community, you're familiar with collections and things like that, and it helps you organize your thoughts. So a lot of times for these different sections that I have, which are already listed here, Bible studies or sermons, word studies, dreams, prayers, and testimonies, I'm adding in this month in review thing, I'll talk about that later, and journal entries. I know I'm gonna do pages like this, and I don't always do them, I won't do them at the same time. So like when I think of words to study, I just have a list of words that I want to study. And so as we flip through, you'll see this is my master list of lists, right? As I think of lists I want to make or lists of things that I will need, I add them here, and then I add a page number to tell me where this list is. Now, in this beginning section, I have a lot of the things I already knew that I was going to need a list for. So one of this is for studying the word. I do Bible studies, I study things chapter by chapter, and I do sermon notes. Let's zoom in a little so that you can actually read what I have written. So I make lists here where I have like planned Bible studies or planned topics that I want to study. I already have 2 in. I'm in a group Bible study and we're going through church history. So I went ahead and wrote that, and every time I do a Bible study on that, I will add a page number here to reference. And I've been reading this book called Keep It Shut, What to Say, How to Say It, and When to Say Nothing at All. And so as I go through that book and I do the study, it's on the tongue and what the Bible says about the tongue. So I will add pages here for doing that Bible study. And the same thing here. If I read like a chapter in the Bible, I'll write it here, and then off to the side I will write the page number. Same thing with the sermon notes. I would write the sermon here, and or the title or the date or something that identifies it, and then a page number so that I know where to go. And so as I go throughout the year, then I can always come back to this page to find the things that I've studied up front. So I do the same thing like I mentioned earlier. I have a couple of different pages. I do word studies. So here I will list the words that I want to study for the year. And then I divided this page because last year I didn't have a whole lot of words, so it didn't take up a whole page. I surmised that would be the same here. And then I did a dreams, prayers, and testimonies. I already created one page that is linked with this, but as I go through, I will update this as well. And then the final set of lists that are up front that I know I will want to keep handy is this month in review section, and then I have a journal entries section. Now this section is more like a bullet journal. This is where I kind of wanted to pull that back into my war binder setup, and I started kind of brainstorming how that would look. I think it's important to set goals and to think about the month in advance, not just from a planning standpoint, but also from a spiritual standpoint. So I wanted to go back to bringing in like the weekly spreads and the monthly spreads and things like that. So I set aside time for that, or space for that. And I don't know, I liked this color scheme. I don't really know why I did this way as opposed to doing like a normal list like the other things, but basically the same concept where I put the page numbers, and then for the journal entries I will have like my weekly spreads, but I'll probably also have like closer to like diary style journal entries as well, since this is a war binder and not just a bullet journal. But I will list things like that here as well. And sometimes there are like journal prompts that I like, so I might do some of those, and that'll go in here as well. And then I left the next page blank just in case I have more stuff that I want to add, and because I just wanted this on a separate page. So I'll figure out what's going on that blank page as time goes on. This is where I started the month of January. So January 2021, I decided to go with kind of like a circles theme, and I decided that my monthly things will be kind of like this rainbow theme. We'll get to the themes in a second, but I liked these circles. I used kind of miscellaneous things to create the circles. I just traced them. I'm not that good at freehanding it, and I'm also not really sure how I feel about coloring in the circle. I thought it would look different than it does, but after I did it, I had done it. But anyway, I have like a little mini calendar. I have important dates. I have a Bible verse for the month to reflect on. I intended to pick a shorter Bible verse so I could make it more legible, or like make it pop off the page, but this verse really spoke to me, so I have it crammed in here. And it's down here in the corner. And then I have these little bubbles, the smaller bubbles like this one, for goals, and I was going to write out 3 different goals, and then I have a section for things to study. And I have a feeling that when I talked about the important dates, it was actually off camera, but it's up to the top, where I just have kind of a list there. And then what's really I guess fun is I put this strip of washi tape on the side, and I just folded it over. You've probably seen this hack on bullet journals before. You just make it cover this edge. And what happens with this is that now when I look at my bullet journal from the side, this black will stand out, and it'll make it easy for me to find this page. So I intend to mark all of my monthly spreads with this washi tape trick, and then I also will mark important Bible studies, or I don't know, whatever pages that I think are important, I will mark these. And I have a color scheme for that, which we will talk about as we get further into the book. That's also part of the setup, but I wanted to start at the beginning and work my way there. So I did that, and then I skipped a page because I want to do the month in review on that same page, on the back of that page. I want it to be easily accessible with the same washi tape trick, but also because I'm probably going to reference the goals on the first page and the Bible verse on the first page and the things to study as I go through the review. So I just put a sticky note here to remind me that that's what's going to go on this page, and I just left it blank for now. And then I went ahead and started with my first week in January. Now I started a little late. I'm going to zoom out again so that you can see the whole spread, or at least more of the spread. So I didn't include January 1st and 2nd because by the time I started this, it really didn't make sense. And as I also didn't want to include so much of December. So I just started with Sunday and the first full week of January, and I created this kind of box scheme. I'd seen some of these on Instagram and thought they were cool. I don't really know how I feel about it. As I was doing it, this particular sticker spoke to my emotions as I was drawing it out. I don't know if it's because I was lazy and didn't use like a ruler to do the lines, and I don't like the misshapenness of the lines or what, but I really wasn't that thrilled with how it came out. But nonetheless, this is closer to my normal like a bullet journal thing where I can put in, tasks and stuff for the day or appointments. And then I have a couple of trackers. I have one for sleep, one for water intake because I'm really bad about that, and one for like daily devotions, making sure that I actually do my daily devotions. And I think here I'm just going to write like a Bible verse. Lastly, I have this section at the bottom that says reflection, and then I left, some blank space for me to journal about my week and how I feel about it and things like that. So that's my first weekly spread. Don't know if I'll do it like this again. I don't know. It's growing on me. We'll see. So that's that. And then the last page that I've already kind of prepped and set up for January 2021 is a prayer list page. And so I have this grid where I can list in prayers and prayer requests for the month of January. I have a box for family, friends, myself, the church, gratitude, society. I also did one for strangers, for work, and for miscellaneous, mainly because this balanced out the spread and I wasn't really sure what else to put here, so I just put something, and that's basically what I have in the front for my prep. Now, this is not all of the prep I did for this journal, however. So I have a section in the back. A lot of people do this in the front for bullet journals, but I did it in the back because this is a war binder and not a bullet journal, and because I just like it being in the back. I don't know. I'm weird. I do things differently. But I have a page in the back. This is actually laminated, so it might be a little glary on the screen, but I created this page that says planning extras to help me find this section, and it has some of the setup things that I will be carrying throughout the journal, like themes and stuff and things like that. So back here, if you follow the channel, then you saw the video I did with the swatches. I have those swatches here. I don't always put swatches in my journal, but since I was doing that video, I decided to put it in this journal so that I would have easy access to see all of the pens that I have and all of the colors. So we're gonna skip this because I have a video, which I will link below if you want to see more about the swatching. But I also have this theme and topic layout plan situation. So as I mentioned, I have different types of pages that I put in my war binder, which I guess is similar to the bullet journal, like having a weekly spread or a collection or something like that. But usually in bullet journals, you have a theme by month. And I didn't want to do that because I have certain things that will carry over from this month to that month. And I don't know, I just like, because it's not really structured around the year and the month, but more so around studying the word. I wanted the themes to be based on the pages instead of the month, so that it would carry through the entire notebook, if that makes any sense. So I have this kind of yellow color scheme for my Bible studies, and my plan is to, so I generally divide things into kind of like a Bible study versus when I do like a group study versus like a passage, or like a sermon or something like that. And so I wanted to be able to differentiate between those a little bit more easily, but I still wanted them to look similar. So I have the same heading, but for the Bible study topics, I'm thinking of doing like a firefly theme. And then for the group Bible studies that I do, I'm going to use butterflies. And then for my Bible passages, I will use a bee theme. And so that's kind of how I did this. And then the washi tape is reminding me, it's a divider, but for this particular page, but it's also reminding me that if I find a Bible study that I really want to highlight the way I did with that black washi tape, then I will use yellow washi tape. Not necessarily this washi tape, but some sort of yellow washi tape. And then I did the same thing for lists. So I like to make lists. The initial lists that I made, which are more of a table of contents, I did not follow this theme because they're a table of contents and not just a general list. But I'm going to use kind of like a beach theme, and it'll be very blue. And I'm not really sure about this wave thing that I drew here, but this was just kind of like preliminary planning. Things will probably change slightly as I actually put it into practice, but this was my initial thoughts there. And then I've been thinking of doing journal like letters to God, which I didn't put a space to list these because I think it'll be fun to just find them as I'm flipping through. But I played around with some lettering for this as well, and we'll probably do it in green because green makes me think of life. And then I continue to do a little bit of planning for these themes. I did a month in review planning. You will recognize the font that I used for January, and I kind of copied this one a little, except this has triangles and I used squares. But I liked this kind of rainbow theme with the black washi tape. Now I do not like this one. This will not show up in the actual journal, but that's also why I did this kind of planning section, to kind of play with ideas and see what they looked like when I translated them from my head to the paper. Of course, I have my word studies. You've seen me do them on the channel, so I'm gonna do them in pink for this binder. And I kept kind of the same basic concept as I had in the previous binder for the headings, because I liked how that worked and how it looked, but I just kind of played with the styles and the fonts. I'm not sure which will make it into the final one, and I don't know if I might do something different on each page with this same theme. I'm not really sure yet. And then for my journals, whether it be a one-time journal or a weekly log, I have that at the bottom. Let's see if I can get to it. And I did that theme in orange. And so I have a couple of different font choices and another strip of washi tape to remind me of what kind of washi tape or what color washi tape I want to use. And I got a little festive with this font style. And for my first entry for that first week, I used this one to do the lettering. And I'll probably mix it up just so it's not too boring. And then the final thing that I have, which you saw in that January prayer list, is the theme for my dreams, prayers, and testimonies. And then I had a lot of space left over. I don't know what will go on this page, but some sort of planning will take place here as well. And then the final page that I have in my Warbinder setup, I copied this from Rach Lee. She does a grade spacing cheat sheet and I really liked it. And I figured I would probably need it for my weekly spreads. So I copied it. I copied that kind of a theme, and basically I have numbers showing me how many boxes are on a page, and then I split it in half, in thirds, and in fourths, both horizontally and vertically. And then I wrote how many squares or how many boxes are in each thing so that I can easily reference this and know how to split up my page and not have to count and do the math every single time. I also did it for whether I want spaces in between my boxes or whether I want them to meet up exactly. So that was, you know, really fun. And that's basically all that I have for my setup. And if you're wondering, just because I did show this on camera, the last thing I have is this little pouch with stickers in it. This is super ghetto and makeshift. It's just a Ziploc bag, and I took some leftover chipboard from where I make covers and I stapled it to the bag. I hole punched it, and then I copied the idea that Erin Condren uses, where this actually, they're like slits here, so you can just pop, you know, if I wanted to, I could just kind of pull this out and pop it out, and then you can pop it back in if you're familiar with the Erin Condren system. But I needed something to keep them in, and I wanted to be able to keep them in the journal. So that's why I did that, and I didn't feel like buying a legitimate one of these things because they have these made that you can buy, but I'm just being cheap, so I made my own. If you would like to see a video on how I did that, let me know. But it's pretty simple and very cheap. It's not the best looking, but it's functionable, and that's what's important in journaling. So that is what I have in store for 2021. I'm really excited about this because I feel like I am slowly perfecting my journaling style and what I like and learning about myself. So I'm really excited to take this journey, and I will be showing more of the insides of my journal in 2021 as I'm also learning what I want to be on the channel. As always, please leave me comments and feedback about what you would like to see and what you think works and doesn't work, because you know, I won't know unless you tell me. And if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. You know, all of those wonderful and great things that we do in the social media world. And Happy New Year!